if you don't speak Arabic or French, is that going to be a problem in Morocco? No, it's not going to be a problem because, a lot of places, especially the major cities where you even have a lot of all the tourist attraction, they tend to have people that speak English. So you see people that speak English in all of these places. But does that really mean that everybody speaks English? Well, or maybe Italian as well. In fact, one of the taxi guy who took us around in Casablanca, he said they speak a little bit of Italian as well, and he also told me that there are people that speak Spanish as well. So which means Morocco is kind of like semi-westernized country in terms of and then proximity to Europe as well. Yeah. So, but one of the tips really to be able to have a good time in terms of to not struggle too much because of the language barrier would be to just be aware of the fact that you will meet people that won't that don't speak English. For example, I'm just using English because I'm English speaker. So there will be people that be prepared that there will be people that don't speak, or whether it's even Italian or Spanish, there will be people that don't speak your local language that you speak. Another very important tip is that you can just simply use translation app, and the most common one really is Google. Google almost have everything really. So, and I did use Google Translate a lot when we visited Morocco. So it's just simple as on Google translate Arabic to English, or translate English to Arabic, or to French, and all of that. So which is really very simple and easy to use on Google. And then there are other apps as well, maybe Hi Translate, and there are a lot of other apps nowadays with AI and all of those. Another tip is simply to be nice, and that can sound really very simple, but when you are nice to people, people will be nice to you as well. So just be nice and people will be there to be able to help you. Another tip that has been around since humanity began actually has to do with gesture. You can just use gesture to be able to communicate. This is what they call non-verbal communication, so that can really be very useful as well. And also you can just use things like picture as well. Let me give you a very good example. Actually, is when we're actually trying to go to the airport, and then this particular taxi driver I kind of like speaking in English, doesn't really understand English, and I don't speak Arabic, I don't speak French, and it was a little bit difficult. And all I did was just to kind of like I went on Google, and then Google Images just got a picture of aeroplane, and then I just showed him a picture of aeroplane. That was as simple as ABC, and then he was able to understand that we were going to the airport. So that was really another one very good example of just communication. But seriously, it's not really a problem actually in terms of communication, because seriously there are a lot of people that that speak English. And I remember the particular time as well, we were trying to get on the bus, on the public bus, and then sometimes it might just be a second or a third trial before you see somebody that actually speaks your language. So we approached this guy, and then we're trying to communicate with him. He doesn't really speak English, and then we don't speak Arabic or French. And then at the end of the day, we then moved to another guy, and then the second guy, then he was able to he speak English really very well. So yeah, so that is definitely, you will have people that speak your language, so which shouldn't really be a problem. So don't be afraid to ask for help really. So because for the fact that somebody doesn't speak your language doesn't really mean that you can't communicate. You can use various methods like gesture, and gesture. You can be creative as well, like the example of what I talk about in terms of showing a picture of an aeroplane to be able to know that we're going to the airport. There are quite a number of ways that you can actually use to communicate. When you think about it, language barrier is not a problem at all, because when people are nice, then it's really not going to be a problem. And then English is kind of like a very widely spoken language all around the world. Even the countries where English is not their official language, you will always get people that speak English. And when the country like in Morocco that really welcome Morocco possibly the most, the most visited country, in Africa in terms of international tourists. So which means that, they've done a good job in terms of like all their tourist attraction, location. There are people that speak English, that speak, some other languages as well, that we really be able to help tourists. So if you're going to Morocco, definitely language is not a problem. You will definitely have a good time, as long as we are all human, and when we are kind and you see humanity in everyone you see, it is not a problem. People will always be there and ready to help you when you are nice and when you present yourself in a good way. People will be able to help you. And Morocco, definitely, the people of Morocco, they are really very nice. Based on my own experience, they are really nice and lovely people. If you are going to Morocco, have a good time and enjoy yourself. Thanks for watching, and God bless.